Hello YouTube, this is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard. What do you think of that photo? That is not a doctored photo. That came from NASA, I think a week or two ago. They took that picture of the sun and anyway, I found that to be very interesting. And look at the smile. It's not your typical smile. That is a smile of absolute overwhelming joy, which I also find to be very typical of the sun. And so we're going to talk about what the solar flash, what I think it means, and what I think it means, what is most important, what we can do to live the solar flash now, and or work to bring it to the entire world. What are the things that we can do to make that happen? Oops, that is no longer available. Sorry about that. This is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard. I hope you all are doing well. I'm going to take this and put that in the corner there so we can see that the whole time. The joy of being alive. All right, so as you know, the most important teaching that I have here on the thunderwizard.com YouTube channel is following your soul desire. That is a phrase that I have coined, which I believe is the most important thing that we can do. And I have a book which you can buy. It's called The Shamanic... Come on, you can do it. What happened? The Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect. No, I'm not going to tell you what that just said. A perfect life. The Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. That is the most important book that I have. And if you can master what's in that, it's really just like a pamphlet. It's not even really a book. It's just a pamphlet. And you can go on to Amazon and get yourself a copy. If you're, for whatever reason, you can't come out of pocket to spend the $5 or $10 or whatever it is for the book or the Kindle, you can go on to my channel and I have a playlist where I actually read it to you. And I give editorial comments. So that is the book that actually started launching my ability to create the life and the business that I now have, which is really nothing. I mean, I just kind of do whatever the hell I want. I make some videos, I talk to some people, and that's really all that I do. I'm very relaxed, and I'm living, I don't know what I would do differently. I can't think of anything I would do differently in my life. So I learned way back when that was the most important thing, to follow my soul desire. So let me tell you again what is the nutshell of that book, which is that, and this is an assumption, so you can choose to accept this assumption. And the thing about assumptions are that once you adopt an assumption, you must act on it if you accept the assumption. If you don't accept the assumption, then of course don't act on it. But the idea of hearing an assumption and accepting it, that means it's going to dictate your actions. So these are the assumption and the actions that have given me the life that I have. So the assumption is that you are an eternal soul. And what is a soul? A soul is a being of pure consciousness made of higher dimensional light. You are a being of pure light. And the essence of you, if you get to the deepest essence of your soul, what you will find is pure joy. Which is why I love this picture of the sun, because the sun is just so full of joy and so happy. And that is exactly how I experience the joy of the soul. Now, continuing with the assumption, you've come here into this three-dimensional reality, which is a limited reality. And you have come here for one purpose. And that one purpose is to take the actions that allow your soul to express its joy. If you do not do that, this is why the book is called The Commandment. There's only one commandment. There isn't 10. There's only one. And that one commandment is, in three-dimensional reality, you must live the joy of your soul. You must do it. If you do not do it, you will be in conflict with your eternal soul. And the result of the conflict between you and your soul will create poverty, misery, sadness, illness, loneliness, all kinds of psychological problems. We can boil all psychological problems down to people being in conflict with their authentic soul essence. So, it may not be an easy thing to do, but it is very simple. If you live your soul desire, you will have success, you will have health, you will have love, you will have fun, you will have prosperity, you will have all of the good things that we want in this 3D life. And so why am I talking about that? Because this is what the solar flash is going to bring. The solar flash isn't going to bring your soul. Your soul is already with you. The solar flash is not going to bring you joy. The joy is already within you. The solar flash is simply going to create an atmosphere that makes it easier for you to access the joy that is within you and to act on it. That's it. So I want to encourage you, if you are waiting for something to happen, I would encourage you to not do that. That doesn't mean that I don't, on almost a daily basis, look around to see if there's some kind of, giant cloud of rainbow-colored happiness coming towards me. I'm waiting for that to happen, and I think it will. But I'm also not going to live my life based on that, because if it doesn't happen that way, I still have to live my life, and I still have to be happy. So, what should we talk about first? So let me just once again give you another assumption that I've been sharing with you. I hope you can accept these things. If you watch the video I did last night, somebody came on and commented, really wanted to argue with me. They were fairly respectful, but really what they wanted to do is they wanted to argue with me about what I was saying, which was that you have to take actions toward your expansion. And what this person wanted to argue was that no, we're not built like that. We're built to take action when it feels good. So we have to wait until something outside of us can make us feel good, meaning God. We have to wait until God makes us happy, then we can act. Otherwise, we can't do it. And of course, how, if you've been on my channel, you know what my response to that would be. So we do have to take action, but The good news is that the blueprint for the action is already inside of you. So, now that I'm thinking about it, I could have said to that person, you're absolutely right. You are wired to take action based on the soul desire that is within you. Now, if you are not able to connect to the joy within you, that makes things very challenging. And I know for some people, it can be very confusing and very challenging to tap into the joy within you. And it's not going to come looking for you. So stop waiting for your destiny to come find you. Your destiny is inside of you. Your destiny is expressed from inside of you and goes into your outward reality. So if you're lucky, and I think most people can do this, I do believe there are some people where it can be very challenging, but even me saying that sort of justifies it. Justifies their difficulty. But I do believe, and it is my experience, that most people have the ability, if they're able to stop trying to think about things outside of them like money, reputation. That's not an easy thing to do. God, society, all of that. If people can just listen to their soul will tell them what makes them happy, what brings them that joy. That, imagine your soul having that happy, joyous, laughing little smile on his or her face. That is the essence of your soul, and your soul wants to continue to live like that. In the third dimension, your soul is on vacation. Your soul is on an extended vacation to the three-dimensional land. Where are you going to go? I'm going to take a vacation to 3D land. That's where your soul is right now. But your soul is, we're talking 11th dimensional. It's much more huge and expansive. It can't even fit into 3D. So it has to wear a 3D suit, a virtual meat suit, so that it can walk around in 3D and experience all the interesting things that 3D has. And while it's there, it wants to experience itself and have joy. So if you don't listen to your soul and act on it, then it's like your meat suit starts to malfunction. You can't get things to work, and that's the experience of being, having poverty issues, health issues, sadness, mental and emotional issues. That's your meat suit having a malfunction. But when you are connected directly to your soul and living the joy of your soul, then your meat suit will function properly, which means you'll just be able to be free to enjoy your life. So let me refresh your memory about, again, a new thing I've been saying, which I will continue to repeat, which is, there is nothing that you can do, nothing that you can gain, nothing that you can accomplish that will make you more lovable and more valuable in the universe. There is nothing outside of you that will give you more joy than you already have within you. Now, it's okay with me if you're not experiencing the joy. That's something else. This is an assumption I'm giving you. Inside of you is an infinite amount of blissful, orgasmic joy that is waiting to be released into your conscious 3D experience. And there's nothing that you can do or gain outside of you that will give that or increase that joy. At best, it will help you to release it from within you, at best. But you can't do anything to become more lovable, more valuable in this universe. So I want to ask you a question. You don't have to put it into the chat. This is a question for you to meditate on. When I tell you that there is nothing outside of you that will ever give you more joy than the joy you already have inside of your soul, does that make you feel relieved? Like, oh, thank the gods, I don't have to try and make more money or be more successful or be more famous or be more beautiful. Oh, thank the gods, I can just be myself. Or when I tell you that there is nothing outside of you that you can gain, that you can do, that you can possess, that will give you any more joy than you already have within you, does that make you sad? Makes me sad sometimes. Because it sounds, if you're not feeling joyful, and if you feel trapped, and if you feel like you can't go, or maybe you don't even know where to go or what to do to release the joy within you, then you might feel sad. You might think, this is it. And there's it's interesting, and I think that's what was happening yesterday when somebody wanted to argue with me and tell me that, human beings aren't designed to take actions if it doesn't feel good. I think that's what's really going on, is that maybe not with that person, but I think with some people at least, the feeling that, if there isn't something outside of me that will fix me, then there's nothing. You feel hopeless. Or if you hear me say that taking actions that are frightening or challenging or confusing or completely contrary to all of your instincts and drives within you, to take action opposite of that is necessary in order to fully experience your authentic self. If you don't feel you can do that, then you have two choices. You can either get very depressed and say, I don't think I can do that. And it's not a popular thing to do. People tend to want to look good. So people tend not to admit their weaknesses. So instead, it's easier to blame me. And so instead, you just assume that you say blanket statements like, we're not designed to take contrary action. When what you really want to say is, I don't think I can. You know what I'm saying? And that's a different thing. This is why I tell you guys to share your feelings. Because if you can get honest with those frightening feelings, like, I don't think I have the ability to take contrary action. I don't think that I'll ever be able to release the joy from within me. If you can be that honest with your feelings, that's what opens the door to be able to change. But if you start throwing assumptions down, limiting assumptions, like we're not designed to take contrary action, there's nothing that I don't know how. We're not able to do this. We're not able to do that. Then you've blocked yourself from any growth. You've blocked yourself from any kind of expansion. And so you're right. There's nothing anybody can do. And so what the solar flash is here to tell us is that everything is possible. So let's now look at some positive things. The solar flash, what many people are believing is going to happen, and what I think will possibly happen, is that when the solar flash hits the Earth, it will create an environment where it is going to be easier for us to operate from the joy of our souls. And in that environment, that higher vibration, what will happen is that we will have more of an ability to manifest what we desire. We'll be able to manifest our dreams. and there won't be any lag time. There won't be as much challenge. You'll know what makes you happy. Because what will happen when the solar flash hits, the higher vibration that surrounds the earth will help people get their value from their soul. So the love that you want from God, you want God's love in your life, that is a projection. What people, and I know because I've been there, I was a born again Christian for many years, and so we wanted God's love, and we wanted God's approval and all of that, but that was a projection. What I didn't realize is that what I really wanted was I wanted to be able to feel the love that I already had inside of me, the self-acceptance that was already inside of me. That's what I really wanted. And the projection of it, making it passive, I want God's love or God's salvation. What that really was about was me accepting the love that was already within me. So the problem is if you take action based on a faulty assumption, you will get less than desirable results. So I'm telling you that it is an understandable, programmed assumption within you to believe that you need to do something, you need to gain something, you need to look a certain way, you need to get possessions in order to feel valuable, to feel loved. That is an inaccurate assumption. So if you take actions on that, if you go to become powerful, rich, get the perfect body, whatever it is, success, fame, whatever it is you think, big giant wads of money, whatever it is you think will give you the ability to feel valuable and worthy, if you take actions on that, you're going to get the opposite effect. And that creates a hamster wheel because then you feel worse, so you try and get more, which makes you feel worse. And what happens is every time you act on that faulty assumption, you separate yourself from your soul. You get further and further away from the joy within you. And that's really the lesson of 3D. The lesson of you coming here to live in a three-dimensional body, the lesson is that nothing outside of you will ever make you better, more lovable, or give you more joy. It won't happen. So let's focus on what's important. The most important thing you can do is honor yourself. To truly honor your true essence. To live your life with a reverence for yourself, for that soul within you. And if you don't know what that is, all you have to do is learn to be able to listen and have your soul tell you what gives it joy. What gives your soul joy will dictate the actions that you take. But you have to take those actions. And many of those actions, bear in mind, there's some truth to, a lot of the, I give Gnosticism a really hard time because it's such a victim mentality, and I can't tolerate victim mentalities. But there's some truths to Gnosticism, otherwise they wouldn't be so popular. The whole idea of the demiurge, which is really another way of saying that the devil is the king of the world. In fact, Christians talk a lot about The devil is the ruler of this earth. And so there's the assumption that you live in enemy territory and you're being oppressed by the ruler of this world. And the Gnostics have not quite as an intense belief where they talk about that demiurge. And I get so frustrated when I hear people self-righteously talk about the demiurge when they don't realize that they're talking about themselves. They're projecting about themselves, because if there is a demiurge, it's you. It is your negative projection surrounding your life. But there's some truth to that. 3D is a limiting experience, and your soul is completely limited. Your soul is in a dark closet in your heart. So, the sun is in the universe and it shines everywhere, but your soul actually comes from a place that is completely filled with light and joy and love. It's surrounded by love and beauty and light, and it itself is love and beauty and light. And then it goes from that experience to being in a dark closet inside this three-dimensional body. And it feels isolated and alone, unless you reconnect it to higher dimensional planes of existence, which is done through the energy practices. The energy practices that I teach here, those open up the doorways back to higher dimensions for your soul to connect. Your spiritual practice, which is why, as I said, I can tell within the first few words if you're doing the work on this channel. I can tell if you're doing the exercises. So I strongly recommend, I can't overstress how strongly I recommend that you do a daily energetic and spiritual discipline every single day, because it literally opens up the interdimensional connection. And when your soul has a connection to those higher dimensions, it shines brighter and brighter and brighter within you, which makes it easier for you to listen to your soul and take action on it. But what happens in 3D is that we have this intellect, we have this computer, which is really just an interface. This right here is the hardware. And then you have these sense organs, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the skin. These are sense organs that you use. Literally, you're blind. It's like Braille, but you're using all of these senses to make your way through three-dimensional reality. And that is how, so your soul is looking out through, these windows here. It's getting its information from this brain up here. Now, your brain has a thing called an intellect. And an intellect does all this thinking. And those of you, many of you, if not all of you, who come to my channel and for some reason I can't figure out, you're unwilling to do the energy practices every day. The only way you're getting your information is literally by Braille. And your intellect, all of that thinking. There's so many people who believe they're on a spiritual path, and all they're doing is they're intellectualizing. They sit around and they talk about spirituality. And that doesn't get you anywhere unless you're able to take action on that talk. But this is a universe of action. So doing the energy work, doing the meditations, doing the Qigong, doing any and all the stuff that I teach, and other stuff that other people teach, yoga, Tai Chi, whatever. Whenever you do that, you are then, it's like your soul is able to see in more of a higher dimensional view. It makes the soul happy. It's like fresh air. Your soul is able to breathe in that higher dimensional energy, and it makes it happy. But if you don't do that, then the only thing you have is your intellect, which again is just a computer. And all it can do is figure things out in 3D. What side of the street to drive on, how to avoid problems, how to defend yourself, words. These are all things we use to navigate 3D. We never really experience 3D, we just navigate through it. So, the solar flash is going to give us an experience where in a higher vibratory state, we won't feel so much limitation. And that will free us, because part of the issue with being here in 3D is that we are struggling against all of this limitation. We live in an experience of feeling isolated. You feel isolated from yourself, from other people, from the spirit. And this is where a lot of our pain comes from. And then sadly, most of us at some point, if not all of us, at some point in our lives, we actually believe the programming and the illusion of separation. There are whole religions based on it. The 4 laws of Christianity. Somebody knocks on your door and says, have you received Jesus? Well, did you know the 4 laws? The first one is that you are separate from God. That's the first thing. It's the assumption that creates the entire religion, is the assumption that you are separate. But that is our experience. So when the solar flash hits, we won't feel so isolated. And I've shared with you before, I just, in the book, in my book, which I just published a couple days ago, where did it go? Oh yeah, this book, Extraterrestrials Are Coming to Earth. In that book, which is now on Amazon, what was I talking about? I talk about my extraterrestrial friends showed me one day what it was like. And I'm learning how to communicate with them better, because I took them too literally and I got kind of freaked out. Because they came to me and they said, we're coming for you later today. Now again, that's me, that's my mind translating the information that they gave to me. And I went, what do you mean you're coming for me today? And they said, don't get scared, we're coming for you today. And I didn't know what that meant. I thought that meant the ship was going to come down, they were going to take me up in a ship, and I didn't know what that meant. But what it meant is that they were going to bring me to a higher dimensional level, closer to where they are. And they also told me, we're going to take you first to the solar flash. We're going to take you first. I didn't know what that meant either. Now, in hindsight, I know exactly what they meant. What they meant was that they were going to give me a preview of what Earth is going to be like after the solar flash hits. And the experience that I had was that I was basically like I had, just drank a giant love drug. I was just like really stoned on this feeling of being full of joy and loving everything, feeling connected to everything. The plants, the breeze, the clouds, the sky, and feeling connected to all of the animals, the birds, the turtles, the sharks, I was down at the beach, the dolphins, the people walking by, their dogs, their children, and I had to really restrain myself because I wanted to walk up to everybody and hug them and, pick up the kids and play with of course that would have been inappropriate. So I had to just keep it all within myself. But I must have looked like I was stoned because I was walking around with this big giant smile on my face and hello, everybody. What the hell's wrong? What's going on with that guy? And everything looked different. Like the water was sparklier, the sunlight was different. I saw and felt everything in a higher vibrational state, and I was in that state for the better part of a whole day. And now I know what it'll be like, and I also have an idea that was a lesser version, like it was a muted version of what I think we might experience. Now I don't know, we'll find out. But based on that, I'm really looking forward to it. But you know what I learned from that was that it was a state that I could do something about. I could increase or decrease the volume of it. If I focused on normal egotistical kinds of things like, okay, I need to make more money, or I got some work to do, or things, the normal ego kinds of things that we think in ways where we try and get things outside of us to make us happy, or to get love, or to feel relevant. If I started to focus on those things, the volume got turned down. It didn't get turned off, but it got sort of turned down. And then if I didn't think about anything, the joy would come back up to sort of like a mean level. Mean meaning like the middle. And then if I wanted to increase it, I could do that as well. And the way that I increased it is I started actively feeling my energy. This was an interesting experience, but I actually sent my energy into the sand. And there was a point where I sent my energy out into the water, into the sand, into the air, and into the people and all of the beings around me. And to be in that state, you can't be thinking about your egotistical self. And to increase it even more, I started thinking in terms of, these are all extensions of myself. I want to send them loving energy. So I spent time consciously sending loving energy to the earth beneath me, above me, and to all of the beings around me. And I started seeing myself as though I were, that like the sun. The sun is sending sunlight all over the world, warmth, radiation that gives life to the plant. So I was sending life to everything. And it was a choice. I decided to do that. And that increased the joy started going through the roof when I did that. And so I could play around with it. Now, that didn't last forever. The experience, slowly, like I came down, like I was coming down off of a high, and the next day I was like, wow, that was really, really intense. But I found I could still turn the volume up in my own joy if I did those same things. If I thought about other people, if I thought about the world, and helping the world feel the love within itself, meditating and sending energy to all of the people on the planet, thinking about how everybody is my family. If an older woman is my mother or my aunt or my grandmother, somebody my age is my sister, a younger woman is my niece or my daughter. Everybody is somebody in my family, and I am responsible to be loving and kind to them in whatever way is best for them, and to let them have their own life and keep them empowered to live their own life. Just these kinds of thoughts. When I think like that, turns up the volume, the energy in my body gets more empowered, and I have the ability to feel that solar flash 5D joy. So I'm sharing this with you because I don't recommend that you sit around and wait for something outside of you to come. It's very likely when the solar flash hits, it's going to impact everybody differently. And there are going to be some people that will just absorb it like a sponge because they're waiting for it, because they know that they're already there. They're already acting like this. They're already doing intuitively the things that I just described. And there are going to be people who are attached to the lower vibrational ego, self-deprecating vibe of needing something outside of you, not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, trying to sabotage yourself so that people will love you more. People do this. They sabotage themselves for other people's approval. They badmouth themselves for other people's approval. They don't realize that's what's happening, but that's a much longer subject, but that's what they do. So people who are narcissistic and or codependent, same thing. Those of you who think that you're, what's the word people use? Super empaths. To all the super empaths listening to me, it is my suggestion that you drop that label immediately. It is not a good thing. Being a super empath where you take on everybody's negativity and you spend your life trying to please other people so that you won't feel uncomfortable is actually a form of narcissism. We could call it reverse narcissism. You have overt narcissism where somebody is mean and cruel and abusive and takes people hostage. And then there are the doormats who call themselves, super empaths. And I just love everybody and I care about everybody, but it just takes so much out of me. Listen, if you think that loving people takes energy out of you, it means that you're not loving them. It is a really twisted way of actually being a narcissist. Because when you are giving love unconditionally, it means you want nothing in return. And simultaneously, you're not a martyr. You also want to experience love completely and fully. So when you are releasing love unconditionally, you are also feeling that love. If you can't do that, if you release love and you feel drained, it's selfish. You don't know it. You need to uncover that with a therapist or go to Al-Anon or CODA or ACA or something like that and figure out why that is. But when you truly love somebody, you have no expectations on them. That doesn't mean that you allow them to harm you. You also love yourself and you do not allow yourself to be harmed by others. So if somebody's abusing you or stealing from you, you go somewhere else. But you let them do their own thing by themselves. Anyway, I'm starting to babble a little bit. What I want you to focus on, the most important thing I can tell you is that besides everything I've said about within you is all of the love of the entire universe. But you are already loved. It's hard to feel it because we're in this limited 3D experience where we are under the illusion where we feel isolated. But I can guarantee you at this moment, right now, there are countless numbers of higher dimensional beings who know you intimately and have known you for multiple lifetimes. You know them, you just don't remember them at the moment. And because they are in higher dimensions, there are beings who are literally with you in all of your thoughts and all of your feelings 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they feel everything that you feel. And they understand you. Because they're in a higher dimension, they can see the real causes. They can see what's going on in your unconscious. You can't see in your unconscious, because if you could, we wouldn't call it the unconscious. And it is, they can see into that. They can feel into that. And these higher beings, you can call them your higher self, you can call them angels, I don't care what word you use. But these beings, infinite numbers of them, are able to be with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because they live in higher dimensions. It doesn't mean that you're the only thing that's going on in their experience. They have other things that they're doing. They're able to do infinite numbers of things. It gives them the ability to be 100% connected to you all the time. So the other thing is, if you make a connection with higher dimensional beings, it's going to it's going to change the way that you think in your mind. Because I mean, I know, when I start going down bad, negative thinking, I do this. I'll think about, what I should have said to somebody, or, I'll imagine, getting revenge on, normal human stuff that we normally don't take action on. But we sometimes, when I start going down that path, I have to stop, because I realize, there's somebody, who's hearing, and I'm basically, forcing some higher dimensional being to, listen to me as I'm thinking all of these negative thoughts. By the way, they are not frightened away by your negative feelings. So you can have anger, fear, rage, depression, whatever your negative feelings are, they're not turned off by that. But I can't imagine that they enjoy, when I go off in my head about, what I should have said to somebody and how I would have humiliated them, or, if I start going off on that, I can't imagine they enjoy that. But I know that when you know that there's a higher dimensional being listening to all of your thoughts, you kind of start thinking, okay, maybe I should focus on thoughts that are beneficial to me. So you won't know that until you make a connection to a higher dimension. That's already happening. They're already there, but you haven't made the connection yet because you live in 3D. So this is why I say, in order to bring the solar flash to us more quickly, then what I recommend that we do is we become part of the transdimensional revolution. Let's bring that up here so we can all see it. The transdimensional revolution. Sorry, okay, the sun wants to get in there. So the sun wants to read it too. All right. The transdimensional revolution. If we go down to the methods of the revolution, the fourth method is to initiate contact and create relationships with higher dimensional beings. It's the most powerful thing you can do. Once you break that dimensional barrier, you will never be able to go back. 3D will never be the same. You will never be the same. And up until now, it has been against the rules. I have to say that, now that I have a better idea of what the universe is, what the multiverse is, I'm still learning. I know almost nothing, but I know more than I did. But it's so much more different than I thought. It is so much stranger than I could have imagined. And beautiful and wonderful all at the same time. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't made a higher dimensional connection. If you don't want to do that, this isn't a religion, you don't have to do it. But I do believe that when more and more people actively initiate contact to higher dimensional realms, it is going to begin shifting. It's going to begin shifting our dimensional, three-dimensional reality enough that we can bring the solar flash. So the more work that we do to turn that knob up, the faster the flash will come. And anyway, I want to get into all kinds of tangents on that, but I'm not going to do that. So, bottom line is all that I'm trying to identify with you the negative aspects of 3D that you have. I don't want you to feel that I'm victim blaming you. I definitely don't want you to feel like a victim, but I don't want to minimize the challenge that 3D life is. It's a challenge, and it can be very painful, and it can be very lonely, and there's a lot of trauma. And it can be very easy to get stuck into a victim mentality mode. Very easy to do that in 3D. So if you're in that, it just means that you're normal. It does take effort to push past that. Even in 3D, before you connect to higher dimensions, you can still make the decision to take the actions that will bring you joy, prosperity, health, and love. And it's everything that I teach about following your soul desire. But the thing that's going to happen in the solar flash is that people are going to intuitively know that that's what it's about. They're going to drop all of the connections to money, to fame, to jobs, banks, armies, politics, all that stuff. They're just gonna choose to drop that because they'll see that it doesn't have any meaning. It's not important, so they won't waste their time on it. Whereas now, if you're like me, it's going to take some effort. You're going to have to make some choices. You're going to have to make some frightening choices to walk away from attitudes and habits and actions that keep you in that limitation because you think that's where you're going to be able to find your resources and your joy. When in 3D you have to go opposite. You have to rebel against it. So I'm saying that we should all do that very quickly. Once again, the transdimensional revolution. Go on to Twitter or wherever you go, Facebook, and hashtag transdimensional revolution in your comments. Get this, let's turn this into a meme. The goals of the revolution are to disconnect human awareness from human control influence of 3D corporate elite. The second goal of the revolution is to reveal to humans their true identity as free citizens of a conscious multidimensional universe. Third goal is to awaken inherent dormant 5D spiritual energies of all humans. The methods of revolution, number one, you choose to reject the mainstream narrative. Second method is you choose to reverse the personal devaluation programming that you have received, which means that you love yourself. You choose to love your soul above all other things. The third method is that you choose to practice spiritual energy disciplines that destroy 3D limitations, like all of the things that I teach here. Fourth method, I think the most powerful, is to initiate contact with higher dimensional beings. And then 5, you choose to live a free, fulfilling, and spiritually vibrant life. The fifth method is really important. Because look, we live in a world that is set up so that the majority of people have to go work for somebody else. It's basically, it's basically slave labor. It's really not that different from slave labor. If you don't work for somebody else, we have a society that won't allow you to live. If you said, you know what, I don't want to do the whole job thing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go hunt and gather. They would say, no, you can't do that. That means you're homeless. And they would want it. Did you know there are people that get paid to be homeless? I think it's in San Francisco. San Francisco will pay you to live on the street and be homeless. I don't understand that. But we choose to live a life that empowers us. You choose to live a life that gives you psychological, spiritual, artistic, personal empowerment. You choose to be inspired by your life. You live a life that is inspiring to you. You choose not to become a slave to the corporate interests. I'm not telling you not to go get a job. Let me be clear about that. I'm just saying that if right now you have to go work for somebody else doing something you don't want to do, that you commit to yourself that you aren't going to stay living like that. And if you like your job, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to quit a job you don't like. I'm telling you to only do the things that give you personal joy. Whatever that is. As I said, I really don't work. I'm not working right now. I'm just being myself. But doing this video is one of the things that ends up putting money. Not that I don't get any YouTube money. I don't get any of that. YouTube advertising money. It comes from people working with me or subscribing to the thunderwizard.com or being an apprentice. That's where all of my income comes from. And so I come on and do these videos knowing it will inspire people to, a small percentage of people will actually sign up for something. And that way I can keep the lights on. But, I have a really great life. And I get to live where I want and do what I want. And it's because I chose to do that. And it took a lot of effort, and I really had to discipline myself. And it was very frightening the first 5 or 10 years of me choosing to do that. But you can do the same. And so that's one of the commitments, that you make sure that you choose that this life will be something that is inspiring and is empowering to you. All right, I'll stop babbling. And we'll take some questions if you want to ask a question. I prefer questions. If you have a question, write the word question in all caps so that I see it, and then write your question. If you have a feeling, I want to hear your feeling. And let's be clear, a feeling is not an opinion. A feeling is, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm confused, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm inspired. Those are feelings. When people say honest feeling and then they say, I believe that such and such, that's not a feeling, that's an opinion. So feelings and questions, that's what I want. Anything else, you're asking for me to psychoanalyze you and pull down your diapers in front of the world, and who wants that? Vincent.thunderwizard.com says hello. He is one of my Vedic astrologers, and he has a website, Vincent.thunderwizard.com. You can see all of the great things he offers on that here in the chat. And Thundra is also there, thundra.thunderwizard.com. And you can go to her website, Thundra, THUNDRA.thunderwizard.com. She's one of my astrologers, as I said. A bunch of other stuff that she does too. Zerlath, honest feeling. I'm excited. I just signed up for the Warrior 90-Day Challenge. This is day 2. Yeah, I saw I think we had brief interactions on the Patreon site, so I'm happy. And I hope it brings you all of the good things it's brought to me. All right, that's not a question. That's not a question. Maclovia Padilla, honest feeling. I feel so excited and open to my joy expanding. That's awesome. Saul Freeman, honest feeling. My feelings of anger and frustration has helped me to see the dysfunctionality of some of my relationships. I am starting to see some shifts and feel the strength to face them. So you are also doing the thunderwizard.com Warrior 90-Day Challenge, am I correct? So let's talk about the power of anger and what anger is supposed to do. So there's a difference between resentment and anger. And a lot of people conflate the two. So resentment is when you are still angry about something that happened to you a month ago, a year ago, a decade ago, If you're still angry about what somebody did to you a long time ago, that's called a resentment. Resentment is a Latin word, resentire, means to re-feel. Re-feel. It means to keep feeling something over and over again. And anger is a flash. So anger is never meant to be sustained. It's not the purpose of anger. Anger is meant to be a flash that you have when you are in immediate danger. So, we can be in danger of losing our money. We can be in danger of losing our reputation. Somebody says something that angers us or hurts us. But somebody cuts us off in front of us when we're driving down the road. We get angry for, 10 or 20 seconds, and we hopefully don't cause any problems. We say something and shake our fist, and then we realize we're okay, we didn't crash, and we move on and we let it go. But if you're still angry, you're resentful. And that's a whole other subject. But anger, it's good to know what makes you angry. Because if you listen to that, your anger's trying to solve a problem. And I'll give you a good example of this. So every now and then somebody will come onto the channel and they'll want to pick a fight with me. I will say something that angers them. Actually, that's not the people I want to talk about now are the people who come and want to tell me that I'm wrong about something. They'll want to tell me that I need to read a certain book, or I need to, listen to another teacher, or, because you really need to learn about this, and that, they want to tell me that they're right and I'm wrong and what I'm saying is wrong. And they get very upset that I don't want to engage with them. And I tell them, listen, instead of trying to tell me where I'm wrong, why don't you go onto your channel and make some videos about the correct thing? Whatever you think, let's say we're talking about, whether Jesus is real or not. And you believe that Jesus is real and he's a real teacher, and then go onto your channel, make videos about Jesus, make videos about why, Jesus this, that, write books about it. Go get that message out. I'm not just saying that to them to get them off my case because I don't want to deal with them, because I don't. But I mean what I say, because that's how I became a teacher. I became a teacher because I would go listen to other teachers and they would be spouting about things, and I would know that they didn't know what they were talking about. I knew that they were wrong, for whatever reason. And I realized that instead of wasting my time being angry at them, I should just go teach. Because that's what anger is trying to tell you. Anger is trying to point you in the direction of where you can go to make yourself happy. You're feeling angry because you're choosing not to do the thing that you want to do. And so when you see somebody else doing the thing that you want to do, you get angry with them. You get jealous. And this is what's happening when people either, pick fights with me or troll me. Part of it is because they're teachers, but they're frustrated teachers, meaning they're not giving themselves permission to go out and teach. So when they see me standing up there, with all of my, being all full of myself and talking about things and spouting out assumptions about the nature of the universe, they get angry at me. But it's because they're really mad at themselves because they're not teaching. And they're mad at themselves because somebody in their life, either like a real person like their parents, or perceived feelings of what what society thinks. They feel minimized. They feel criticized. If they start to think, I don't deserve to be a teacher, and they criticize themselves, then they start to project that on every other teacher who stands up there and proudly spouts their nonsense like I do. So your anger and your frustration has helped you to see the dysfunctionality of your relationships. You're not saying this. What I hear in that is that you've been codependent. What I hear in that is that you've been letting people step on you, control you, manipulate you, guilt you, and you're starting to wake up to the reality that that makes you angry. And you have a choice. You can either sit there and let them keep doing it in the selfish, narcissistic desire of hoping to get their love and approval, or you can take a risk and you can realize that their love and their approval is not going to fix you, that your happiness will come from you being authentic within yourself. And the anger is telling you to stop being a doormat. Stop letting other people control you. You be yourself. They don't have to like it that you're not doing what they want anymore. And it's okay. You can be upset. It's okay. Little 4-year-old kids, when you don't give them chocolate chip cookies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they'll have a temper tantrum. But you go, I know you're upset with me, but you got to have some real food. Sorry, no cookies for lunch. You had cookies for breakfast. You can't have cookies for lunch. And then they say, I hate you, Mom. I hate you, Dad. And you go, I know, that's okay. I still love you. And so when you don't meet adults' desires and adults' expectations and meeting their codependent needs on you, and you say, I love you, but you know what? I don't feel right doing that. Then they're going to get upset. And you love them enough to let them be upset, and you're going to do your own thing anyway. That's what I hear in what you just said. I don't know if that's what you meant, but that's what I heard. I don't see any other thoughts or questions. So, before we go, we've got to do some business here. So, first thing is that the book is out. Extraterrestrials are coming to Earth. Let me see. Do I have a book ad video? I think I do. Extraterrestrials are coming to Earth. Why are they here? What do they want from you? New book available now on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. Extraterrestrials are coming to Earth by Michael William Denny. You've heard all the stories about ETs, aliens, and interdimensional beings of light, but you don't know if any of the stories are true. What if you could talk with an ET yourself and find out? You can. I communicate with ETs every day. What these beings of light have shown me about the true nature of reality has freed me from the bondage of 3D. You are much more powerful than you realize, and everything is about to change. Okay, so that's out. If you're new to the channel, or even if you're not new to the channel, this channel is not about you sitting there listening to me talk. This channel is about doing the work. And what is the work? If you go up here to thunderwizard.com, you will find the subscriptions that I make available to you. Very inexpensive. The highest level subscription, which gives you the real stuff, is less than you buying that Starbucks coffee that you buy every day that destroys your liver and kidneys and adrenals. In the Warrior 90-Day Challenge, I am the only person in the world today and in the history of spiritual teachings. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's true. I am the only person that has ever taught the fusion of the 3 spiritual energies. First one is Chi, prana, life force energy. You get this through Qigong. The second is Kundalini. This is what is taught in yoga and the East Indian arts. And this is it is not life force energy. It is the energy of consciousness, which is associated with the spinal column, the nervous system, and the chakras. And then there's the third energy, which is the heart-mind energy. That is actually pure electric lightning energy that sits around the heart center. And it is normally dormant because the lightning actually protects the heart. There's a reason why, they go, charge or clear or whatever it is. Where, in order to restart somebody's heart, what do? They shock it. They put electricity into it. Because there literally is a charge of electricity around your heart. And it's actually a form of lightning. And it surrounds your soul. It keeps your soul from being damaged by the harshness of three-dimensional reality. But there are very simple techniques that I teach you that have been kept secret for 2,000 years. To my knowledge, I'm the only person that's revealed it publicly in the history of the world. I didn't make it up. I'm just saying I'm the first person to reveal it. Very simple movements, very simple mudras, very simple movements that literally flip on the switches that take that lightning energy, and instead of it staying dormant, it comes out through the whole body, especially out the hands. This is what gives some martial artists that that crazy power that you hear about in kung fu movies and things like that. But it also gives healing power. It gives you power to fight evil with your presence. Literally, if you walk into a room, evil spirits will go, and literally if there's a person who's possessed, that happened to me, they'll get up and walk out. This is the power of the lightning energy. I'm the only person that's combined these three: Qigong, Kundalini energy, and the lightning energy into one practice. That is the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. Go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe. If you don't like it, you can unsubscribe whenever you want. You haven't lost anything. All of my books, everything else, you can find courses.thunderwizard.com. You can find the link for that. All the other things that I teach. And of course, you can just go to amazon.com and type in my name, Michael Denny, or Michael William Denny. You can also just go to my book website, which is MICHAEL, michaelwilliamdenny.com. You can go there and see all of my books. This coming week, Monday through Wednesday, there's going to be some construction here, so I'm going to hole myself up in a house down the street, and I'm going to record the ET book that I just wrote, and I'm going to, create my first audio book. In case you want to listen to me do it, you can get the audio book. What else? Any other business that I need to do? I can't think of anything else. That's it. Of course, if you want the most powerful energy practice on the face of the earth in the history of human beings, you can go to maushan.thunderwizard.com. That's how you can learn to fight demons with your bare hands. You can learn the practices that give you the ability to do that, is what I should say. All right, I don't see any other questions here. Nope. That's it. We're all done. Thank you, my friends. I love you all. I wish you all the best. And if you have any questions, you can leave them on the comment section on the YouTube videos. And if I like your question, I'll make a video about it. That's it. All right. I'll see you guys all very soon. Let's see, what do I want to do here? Oh, that's what I want to do.